Madam Speaker, thank you. You know, everyone's heard about The Price is Right, but on C-SPAN tonight, we're going to play The Price is Wrong. But before doing so, I want to put this in perspective. A number of years ago, we were all aghast as taxpayers, even here as members of Congress, when we found out that in the Department of Defense, we were spending $436 on a hammer. We spent $7,600 on a coffee urn. And oh yes, we spent $640 on a toilet seat. Talk about flushing money down a toilet. We were doing it. But that fleecing that we thought had ended has actually continued. Since 2010, the Inspector General of the Department of Defense has found that we are spending more than $430 million over what we should be paying for spare parts, thousands of spare parts. So we're paying much more than the fair or reasonable price for these parts. Now, what the military should do when it needs parts is go to what's called the Defense Logistics Agency, d.l.a. It's sort of like the defense hardware store. But sometimes they think it's cheaper and maybe faster if they go to a defense contractor and ask for those parts. Well, the audits also showed that certain parts we have in such volume that it will last us 100 years. That's like having spare parts like, let's say, horseshoes dating back to World War I, and they're sitting around the defense hardware store today. More than 100 years worth of certain spare parts. Now, you might think, well, maybe this is a little complicated, but it's really not complicated. The auditors go to the Department of Defense databases and can tell immediately with just a click whether or not the spare parts are in stock and how much they charge for those spare parts. So let's play our very first game of The Price is Wrong. This is a ramp gate roller assembly. It's about the size of a quarter. Now, this particular assembly sells for $7.71 in the defense hardware store. So the auditor suggested, well, maybe because this is, in fact, for a Chinook helicopter, maybe it could be even a little bit more. But what did the personnel within the Department of Defense pay for this little assembly? It wasn't $7.71. Was it perhaps $77.10? Nope, it wasn't $77.10. Was it $771? Nope, it wasn't $771. We paid for this $7.71 part, 71-cent part, $1,678.61. Now, the price is wrong, and the Department of Defense has got to clean up its act. Let's move on to yet another game that we can play. It's called That's Too Much. Now, I'm going to show you another part. This is a bearing sleeve, and you're going to tell me whether or not you think the price is too much. Again, at the local hardware store, this would sell for $6. Again, this is for a Chinook helicopter. And the Inspector General says, well, maybe for this sophisticated helicopter, it would cost $10 for this part. So, what did we pay for this part? Did we pay $86? Nope, we didn't pay $86. Did we pay $286? Nope, we didn't pay $286. We paid $2,286 for this little part. Now, we just didn't buy one part. We bought 573 of these parts, this little bearing sleeve, and it cost us $1.3 million. All right. If you haven't enjoyed playing this game so far, we have one more game to play tonight. And this game is the finale. It's called the Showcase Showdown. And this is when we compare two packages and see which one costs more. So our first item here is the simple 2-ramp gate roller assembly. Now, which is more expensive? This 2-part roller gate this gate roller assembly, or a trip to Paris, France for 2, including airfare and hotel for 4 nights? Which is more expensive? Well, if you guessed the trip to Paris, France, you'd be wrong. Because a trip to Paris, France, if you go on one of the local websites, would cost $2,681. And paid, or I should say the Army paid, $3,357 for this 2-ramp gate roller assembly. So, the Pentagon is playing games with taxpayer dollars. And let me tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The worst part of this game is that it's rigged. The contractors always win, and the taxpayers always lose. The Inspector General found that the Army overpaid one defense contractor $13 million. But the Pentagon only recovered $2.6 million. Now get this. It's discovered that one defense contractor overcharged us $13 million for a number of parts. And then after it was exposed, they didn't even refund us what they should have. They only paid us back $2.6 million. It included paying twice the fair and reasonable price for kits, overpaid $16,000 for a structural support that should have cost only $1,300. Now, this bearing sleeve that I just showed you that was over $2,200, let's put it in kind of simple terms. If we went into a local cafe and ordered the blue light special, and the menu said it was $2,200, we'd walk right out. And they'd be laughed out of our community. But no, that doesn't happen in the military. That defense contractor that overcharged us and then didn't even pay us back what they had overcharged us, get this. Air Force has just signed on the dotted line a contract with this defense contractor to do the following: to manage the supply chain. Now, it's almost laughable that the defense contractor that ripped us off now has another contract to manage the supply chain. Well, that's all the games we have for tonight. Thank you for playing. We'll see you next time on The Price is Wrong. I yield back.